Southwest governors meet to strategize for region's governance as Governor Seyi Makinde in Oyo State hosts his colleagues. And the efforts of using constitutional amendment as a tool to fix some of the nation's challenges of national debates. We are in a very critical situation, but what is the way forward? Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Wakimale right here in Abuja. We begin with one of the political stories that we're following for you, which is that of the former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, who has formally registered his membership with the African Democratic Congress, ADC, at his ward in Jada local government area of Adamawa State. Speaking after registering, Atiku Abubakar says that the ADC for now is the only party that offers a credible alternative to the APC, which he says is not living up to the expectations of Nigerians. Take a listen to the former Vice President.
I was a foundation member of the APC, but I have been thoroughly disappointed with their performance. No doubt about that. And what has happened also to PDP is something that I had predicted, and it has come to pass. It requires experience and intellect, you know. Those who are sitting on the fence don't belong to anywhere. But I believe those who are committed to true democracy, good governance, prosperous economy, security, will definitely give it to the ADC because it is composed of elements who believe in the sanctity of democratic processes.
All right, then. There's so much to tell you tonight, and my guest tonight is a former governor who then has his own very strong opinions about the state of the nation. But we are going to critically analyze those issues for you. But before we get into our conversation, let's check out some of the political roundup stories.
Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State has called on President Bola Tinubu to review the country's security architecture, stressing that with the recent security development, there were enemies attempting to scuttle the democracy the nation currently enjoys. The governor made a call when he received the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, at the government house in Birnin Kebbi. The Speaker, who was in Kebbi State alongside all the members of his entourage, visited to commiserate with the government and people of the state over the abduction of the MAGA schoolgirls. The former All Progressives Congress APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje has urged Kano citizens to register for their voters' card as the 2027 general elections approach. He made this call while addressing the press after a meeting with stakeholders of the party in Kano State, northwest Nigeria. According to him, all party members from the top to bottom will endorse President Bola Tinubu for a second-term bid. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has condemned the recent wave of attacks and kidnapping of school children and teachers across some states in northern Nigeria. President of the NLC, Mr. Joe Ajero, who described the new surge of violent attacks as a smokescreen and a strategy of depopulation and plundering of national resources, urges Nigerian workers to organize better and challenge the status quo. Mr. Ajero was speaking at the 2025 annual Hamatan Conference of the Nigerian Labour Congress in Abuja. In a renewed bid to tackle the menace of insurgency and emerging security threats bedeviling the nation, the federal government, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, has unveiled a 5-year strategic plan. Speaking at the official unveiling of Abuja, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, says Nigeria will not yield to agents of destabilization who are bent on destroying the peace of the nation. Lastly, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has announced that the 2026 appropriation bill will be presented at the new Rivers State House of Assembly complex currently being constructed by his administration. The governor made his note today after inspecting the progress of the work at the site, expressing satisfaction with the level of investment recorded so far. He emphasized the importance of lawmakers returning to the main complex, noting that the assembly members who are currently sitting in the temporary chamber at the residential quarters should resume at the permanent facility following the restoration of peace in the state.
There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Don't worry. You've got, you don't need to pay me for giving you all the hottest gist in politics. But let's get going. Governors of the Southwest states earlier today held a closed-door meeting in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. And the meeting was attended by some of the governors in the Southwest, including Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, who is also the chair of the regional forum. Others include the governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, the Osun State governor, Ademola Adeleke, Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanji, and it was Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State who hosted them. The reports from that meeting indicates that the conversation is around the security, governance of the region, in which they're forming an alliance in finding solutions and ways to deal with some of the challenges confronting the region. Is it possible for us to fix the nation's challenges through the amendment to the Constitution? There are those who believe that some of the solutions are embedded in that process, where the National Assembly Joint Committee on Constitutional Review is to meet with state governors and 26th of November, which is in the next 2 days, to conclude deliberations on the constitutional amendment. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Benjamin Kalu, says that in the retreat that they were having, he says members of the committees of the Senate and the House of Representatives will be meeting the governors, and they said there's several amendments, including citizenship by investment, special seats for women, state policing, and are being considered. Take a listen to the Deputy Speaker and the Deputy Senate President.
The speakers of the State House of Assembly to offer them the opportunity to make observations and input before we present our report to the plenary and before the bills that meet the threshold of Section 9 of the Constitution are transmitted to them. So we want them to have all this beforehand so that we have a similar process when it goes to the assemblies of the sub-nationals.
People yearn for reforms that will carry out the following. 1. Devolve power and bring governance closer to the grassroots. 2. Localize internal security through innovative approaches like state police. 3. Empower their voices through credible election. 4. Ensure fiscal federalism and equitable resource distribution. 5. Protect the rights and dignity of every citizen, regardless of gender, ethnicity, or religion. And 6. Guarantee local government autonomy so that development reaches the last community.
Now, let's turn our attention and focus on the state of the nation. Our nation is grappling with a troubling surge in abductions, violent attacks, and deepening insecurity across several parts of the country. Public anxiety grows, so we're seeing pressure on federal lawmakers, federal government, and state governments to rethink Nigeria's policing framework, revisit long-standing constitutional bottlenecks, and deliver on the promises made by the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, from the renewed debate over state policing to the pace of ongoing constitutional amendments, and from national security reforms to expectations of governance in a challenging economic climate. The questions before the APC-led federal government continue to mount. Senator Adams Oshomole, the former national chairman of the APC and senator representing Edo North, he joins me live on the program tonight to speak to these issues. And perhaps he might want to defend his party's stewardship and tell Nigerians where the reform efforts truly stand. There are a lot of people who think his party is not very unpopular. Your Excellency, thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Chief, for having me again.
I appreciate it. I mean, your very good friend Atiku Abubakar is officially in the ADC, and it does look like a lot of momentum against the fact that you heard his view that your party is not living to the expectation, your party is failing Nigerians, and your party is getting unpopular by the day, by the situation the Nigerian people are facing.
Thank you, Shehu. I think the thing to ask, and this is where you must play your critical role of assisting citizens and your viewers, to remind them of the antecedent of each of these persons. I heard him say he was a founding member of APC. That is part of the truth. He was a founding member of PDP. And according to him, what he predicted will happen to PDP has come to pass. Now, if a man was a vice president, number 2 citizen, from 1999 to 2007, and while he was a vice president, he decamped from the party rather than reform it so that others can build on it, he ported to APC to become, as he just claimed, a founding member of APC. And President Buhari defeated him in the primaries. And again, he went back to PDP. I just want to ask him, whatever anybody wants to say, all the political parties in Nigeria put together, they are not equivalent to the Nigerian state. The sum total of all the parties. So if Atiku, as a former president, other PDP, could not fix PDP, he could not reconstruct it, he could not provide leadership, and use the influence which he had built. Because let's face it, President Obasanjo gave Atiku a lot of leverage as vice president. He gave him so much powers, which he used to more or less to influence the governors, which is why he tried to contest election against him. So if you couldn't fix your party, how can you lay claim to wanting to fix Nigeria? Then according to him, he went into APC. What he did explain is how he left APC. He left only after he lost the ticket. Where did he return to? He went back to PDP. He's so much in love with PDP, at least for the purpose of contesting election. He could not build PDP. So if an Atiku can't build PDP, that made him vice president, and his option was to check out to APC, and then out of frustration, having lost election, return to PDP, yet he could still not fix it. Now he has found a new concussion. Who is in that party that any Nigeria will vote for? Atiku is weather beaten. Now the other one, Rotimi Amaechi, is the most terrible. Look at the choice of language. A guy who shut down Rivers judiciary because he wanted to appoint his own personal favorite as chief judge of Rivers State. Once he couldn't have his way, the Rivers State judiciary was shut down for almost 2 years. The courts were shut. A whole autonomous arm of government. If that man has federal power, he will shut down the Supreme Court. Because, as I say, if you start stealing a piece of meat from your mother's plate, when you grow, you become an armed robber. So if as a governor, he could shut down River Judiciary. If I don't know any of that, I know that. And look at the childish way he talks. When he said, he responded to what I believe the Honorable Minister of Electricity said about him, His Excellency Wike. He said, I don't talk to children. So a former governor, a former minister, a current minister, is a child in the eyes of Wike. So the words you utter is also a reflection of who you are. So for me, I don't see any Nigerian who is going to vote for a party or a someone like Wike. I mean, like Amaechi. And remember, for you to understand why Amaechi is completely empty, check the record. How did he become governor of Rivers State? It was purely the creation of the Supreme Court. The very court that he sought to disgrace, to disrespect, and to shut down the Rivers State judiciary. He was a stranger to bylaw.
It seems you to underestimate. You're underrating and underestimating that coalition.
Which election has he ever won? In 2015. In 2015.
But he helped Buhari to win election.
Wait, he did it. In 2015,
Director General
let me give you the facts. Director General, that is what makes it even more painful. He was Director General in 2015. He didn't even vote for Buhari because he unwisely see that he was being overwhelmed by Governor Wike's forces. He ordered his followers to boycott the election. So he himself didn't vote for Buhari, even though he ended up as a minister for 8 years. He did not vote. He was the DG of the campaign. He didn't vote. Check the records. That's why I say you should also educate the people. This is a DG of a campaign who sensing defeat from Rivers State, thought that it would be more convenient to say, I boycott the election. Which reasonable politician boycott the election when you know that you're boycotting, it will stop the process? But he did. So he didn't vote for Buhari in 2015.
But why is he bringing
well, if you hear the record,
2019?
He's a smuggler. He went, he asked those who know how he got Buhari to sign a paper for him. They went for governor's meeting. He came out and he said he got Buhari to sign something for him. He took advantage of the little we know about Buhari and he got that. But the issue for me is that a man who was a DG of a campaign and he did not vote in the election.
But can you take the credit away from the likes of Rotimi Amechi? There are just a few elements in the APC.
You list the qualities of his accomplishment, what he has accomplished.
No, we know that.
As I've just told you, his first being governor. His first being governor, and he comes to my clan virtually my local government every now and then, because he said it was the pastor who prophesied that he would become governor, even though he was not on the ballot. The Supreme Court has still changed that position anyway. They just dashed him that governorship for reasons best known to the Supreme Court at the time. But look at the way he replied. But so what does he accomplish?
The point I'm making
now,
here,
in the other election last time,
can you take away,
as a city governor, he was defeated.
No, can you take away the fact that Rotimi Amechi,
yes,
Bukola Saraki, the likes of Atiku Abubakar, Bola Tinubu, Muhammadu Buhari, these were the pillars of the APC pre-2015. Can you wish that away? Or you just want to be unfair to Rotimi Amechi?
Okay, let's
just because you think that is a threat
you
to your political party.
You mentioned his name, so I had to remind you that this is one of those Nigerians who became governor without appearing on the ballot, courtesy of the Supreme Court, only to turn around and buy the figures that fed him. That he shut down judiciary in the River State, is that not a fact known to you? The whole arm of government was shut down by Mike.
Isn't it the fact that because he's a pillar, one of the pillars that formed the APC?
You can say he was one of the members. This pillar you talk about, how easy to remove the pillar?
There are just a few people who were in the room when the matter of APC was being discussed pre-2015.
I was a city governor. It was at the current vice president's office in Maiduguri that we iron out the final detail with regard to logo and other things that we had to do to form the APC. He came in with a faction of PDP, which they call the new PDP. So without him, APC was already formed. But that is not what is important. Even the guy who bring one block to the construction of a mansion contributed. That is not the issue. The issue is examine his record of performance. Look at the crisis in the railway system that he superintended over for 8 unbroken years. He's unable to get the priorities right, play to the gallery. You know, he'd rather construct rail, not to Kano, not to Port Harcourt where he came from, but to Niger. Which goods are we sending to Niger?
Was his the sole decision?
He was a minister. And if you are a minister of Buhari, you will be fair to him, life or dead, that Buhari gave any 1 year points, free hand to do the job he has assigned to you. That is what Buhari was. That is what Buhari was.
Senator Oshamale, tonight, there are those, just a moment, there are those who say, Amechi that you are talking about here and Atiku Abubakar, they are in a camp that a lot of Nigerians believe, yes, PDP may have disappointed,
all that they have in common,
APC might be the alternative
part of their frustration.
That your party, they say your party has failed Nigerians.
You say that is,
you know, and the question is, these are the alternatives.
People, if you are an author, you quote people with credibility, right? People who have established their authority. Now you quote 2 serially defeated candidates. Atiku Abubakar has contested every election. And he keep losing the election. The only one he won, courtesy of Obasanjo, he ended up attacking Obasanjo and decamping as a sitting vice president. So why are you quoting
No. Deal with the
about
issue. Whether or not your party has not failed Nigerians.
Okay.
Has your party been successful in keeping Nigerians secure?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know how many people that have been kidnapped from their schools in the last few days, Senator? How do you defend that?
Shehu, what problem you have is that you speak your questions selectively. Order whose government, order which political party, the insurgency and insecurity became a big issue in Nigeria. It was under the People's Democratic Party. Check the record. Who was the president? Which party was in power when there was a particular breakout in I believe, Maiduguri, where they killed a guy who was said to have been a commissioner, who was alleged to be the leader of Boko Haram. So it is not what they say, it is what you know about them. And you have a duty to educate Nigerians. The only thing Amechi and Atiku have in common is frustration. The Amechi thought he could become president because I don't know how he made his money. And he could give so much to people as he did. And people collected his money and he lost. He has not. I mean, when Amechi can look at you, show you in the face, and tell you, I'm hungry, trivializing serious national issues, trivializing hunger. My prayer for you is that may he not be hungry. But he's so hungry of power. He's so hungry of power that he can't wait.
Senator, don't deflect the main issue here.
What is the main issue?
Your party. You made promises to Nigerians. In the last few days...
That's why I ask you,
how would you defend the fact that this country is safer today than it was a few years ago?
In the last few weeks, a number of criminals who have contributed to undermining the peace and security of Nigeria, whether as terrorists or as bandits or by whatever name called, they have been brought to justice, and more are awaiting trial. And I read them from your own news station. So you don't behave as if somebody is sleeping. A couple of errors may have been made in the far past, where people like General Buratai and co were service chiefs. I forgot who was the chief of defense now, where the arrests of people and order a policy that was unclear to me. People talk about de-radicalizing, and then they trade the guys and release them back and so on and so forth. We can talk about those. But this president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has showed courage. Did you find out why his service chiefs don't have the kind of unended tenure as it happened under the watch of his predecessor? Did you listen to his language? Not because anybody asked him to do so. When on his own, he decided to change the service chiefs. His charge to the new service chief said, I will no longer accept any excuses. No more excuses, President Buhari told the new service chiefs. This is before any statement came from America. This is before any statement came from America. And Shehu, you have forgotten that here in Abuja, the police headquarters was attacked. Here in Abuja, the United Nations headquarters was attacked. Here in Abuja, this day newspaper facilities were attacked. We can go on and on and on. So don't suggest as if all that APC promised, what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised, which he's doing, is that he will do his best, and he's doing his very best to deal with the issue of insecurity. You can point at what has happened, but you must also not fail to point at what has been accomplished.
But is the best working? Yes, I agree that as far as the template of the APC is concerned,
I saw the problem be solved. Now I can see a lot of people now, because what I thought imaginative and seasoned journalists like you should do is to ask yourself, in the past 2 weeks, which you refer to, what is it that has happened anywhere with regards to Nigeria that may have caused this reaction? So this surge in the renewed focus by bandits on schools, what military term they call soft targets. Why? It coincided with the time when somebody said they was going to intervene in Nigeria security challenges. And I saw, for you to understand that there is some political dimension to these issues by people who are so frustrated that they either make it or Nigeria doesn't become. But they will fail, and they're already failing. Look at the fashionable chairman of PDP that was elected, quote, the fashionable one that claimed to have been elected in Ibadan, saying that Donald Trump should come and help him to fix PDP. You did laugh at that one. That is a former minister of the Federal Republic. Say, I am calling on Donald Trump to come and help you fix PDP.
Fix the Nigerian democracy.
No. He couldn't have been talking of Nigeria.
No, he's talking about, he said that because of the crisis and the clash.
Look at his face and see what his problem is. What is the immediate problem? Immediate problem is that his party has several presidents, several national chairmen, of which is one of the factions. And that 2-3 chairmen are seeking access to occupy the same chair. And so, did he say anything before that day? So he wants Donald Trump to come and help him fix PDP problem. So people who are so bereft of ideas, who can be so desperate as to misconstrue their own personal political fortune to equate it with the Nigerian nation.
Perhaps the fear of
those are just political rascals, in my opinion.
Perhaps the way and manner your party plays its own politics.
How did we play our politics?
Makes it look like
now let me remind you, because I
just
see
for a moment, sir. That makes it look like Nigeria is now drifting to a one-party
drift. But let me again trace the history, because my problem with you, and it's a very serious problem, is that you have had the benefit of creating this desk, Politics Today. And that has exposed you 6 days every week. For how many years now? Therefore, you are familiar with all the issues. So, who started trying to even force people to decamp, who tried to dissolve political parties or coerce the governors to decamp? It was PDP under Obasanjo and Atiku as vice president. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Why was the then governor of Ibadan impeached? Who took over AD? Who made ANPP national chairman Waziri, Alhaji Waziri? I think he's late now. Obasanjo appointed the chairman of ANPP, which they had almost 10 states. He appointed their chairman as a special advisor on inter-party affairs. And thereafter began to, either through rigging, as he did in the Southwest, just write the result and ask them to go to court. And he took over successfully AD, but a more smarter Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now president of Nigeria, decided to form ACN and allow Obasanjo to take control of his AD. And started the fight. And they reclaimed the Southwest. Is it anybody in PDP at that time, including Atiku Abubakar, who was vice president, who will complain? Was he not there when a party national chairman was appointed? And thereafter, they went on to deal with ANPP in different states where they had control. ANPP had about 10 governors in 1999.
So that's the kind
By the time I became governor.
Is that the kind of template that your party now wants to copy?
By the time I became governor, for example, PDP had completely rooted out ANPP in Edo State. Even though ANPP at one time had members of House of Reps. Until God used me to dismantle the rigging machine in Edo State, and I became the only non-PDP state in the entire South-South. You also heard of people who, the problem Obasanjo had with Dari in Plateau, and how that ended. We can give examples. So, if we have refused, for example, if we have refused anyone who chooses to join APC, you will accuse us of breaching the person's fundamental human right. The Nigerian Constitution does not give any political party the right to deny you membership.
So you simply just love.
So if you have any specific allegation, you prove it. What steps?
You simply just love what Obasanjo did, and you people want to copy it.
No,
you blew out how
who has President Tinubu appointed in order to get anybody to the camp? I mentioned the name of a national chairman of an opposition party. You name one that President Tinubu has appointed. Name one national chairman of a political party that Tinubu has appointed.
So that's why. That's the reason why your party wants Nigeria.
I said in one forum.
Politician to
I
be
said
in
in one forum that this is the only country where, in my culture, for example, they say the air does not run when there's trouble in the house. They stay back and fix it. That's why you can talk of the prodigal son, even in the Bible. There is no prodigal father. A father that ran out of his own house, as Atiku did. Or if Amici says because he lost his ambition to contest for election in APC, Are we the one who forced him out of PDP where he was before?
But
one by one, they voted with their feet.
Do you realize
this
the danger of this to our democracy, Senator?
Pardon?
Do you realize the danger of what is going on and the movement into your party? What danger it presents to our democracy?
I told you on this day, I said, ask Atiku Abubakar the next time he's in Dubai, when he's prayerfully freer, before the next election starts, when he returns after this is registration, let him put down what are the forces that make him leave a ruling party at his peak, at the time he did, to come and join an opposition party, newly formed, after his boss and himself had taken over AD. And I don't know if you remember the confession he made while he was angry with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu before he became president, that if he had known that Obasanjo had asked him to ensure the liquidation of the party in Lagos, but they tried. Do you know how many times they changed commissioners of police in Lagos at the eve of election? Do you know how many times they remove President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a governor? They withdraw his police security? There are a lot we can say. But just show me one step that anybody can say. The person having the fear of God will say, because of this coercive action of President Tinubu, that is what XYZ become. Name one example. There is none.
So
when people find that, I mean, governors after governors, party members after party members says, look, this house called PDP, which people like if Atiku run out of his father's house, the house he built, he ran out of it. And other people who went in have run out of it. Including this one who was shot the day before I did that last week, that Donald Trump should come and help save PDP because he doesn't know where his office is in Wadada House. I mean, how can you? See, when they talk like that, when they say there is a danger, it is people like you should interrogate men and women according to you who are, quote, pillars. How a pillar becomes the weakest link of a chain.
Give me a moment, Senator. We need to go on a break. And when we come back, we'll be dwelling on issues relating to how this country, other this present administration, can move forward. I'll be speaking with a man who has been a national chairman of the APC, two-time governor, and a sitting senator. What is the way forward for Nigeria? After this break, everyone. Join us again. Welcome back, everyone. Senator Adams Oshomole, former chairman, national chairman of the APC, and former governor of Edo State, sitting senator in the National Assembly. Senator, quickly, the question here is, there are a lot of uncomfortable circumstances, especially security, and a lot of Nigerians who are watching tonight will be wondering, what should they expect tomorrow? What kind of hope should they have? You said that your party is giving its best, the president is doing his best, but that best doesn't look like things are working. But you alluded to the fact that things are unusual and unnatural with the security situation and the spike that we have seen. What exactly do you make? Are you insinuating or inferring that there are some hands and some artificiality to the circumstances leading to insecurity we're seeing in Nigeria today?
No, my position is this: first, that I believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing his very best, and check it out, because he was not satisfied with the pace of progress, even though we have been making progress, he had cause on his own, not waiting for Nigerians to call on him the way Nigeria used to do during the tenure of his predecessor, to replace the service chiefs and appoint new ones with a clear mandate. I will not take any excuses. No more excuses, he said to the service chiefs. That shows a president that knows what is going on and is not lamenting this. He takes steps to fix it. But remember, like every ailment, this issue of insecurity had been there from about 2006 to 2023 when President Tinubu took over. Like any ailment, over time, this disease, which probably if it was handled differently at its inception, for have been nipped in the pod, have been allowed to, like cancer that has got it to stage 4. And what President Tinubu has been doing is to do everything possible. I mean, I have seen, regardless of what people say, and I watched it from from the media, where Evil America commended the Directorate of State Security Services, the DSS, for helping to apprehend some notorious terrorists that are wanted not only in Nigeria but outside the boundary of Nigeria. Now, so don't talk as if the fact that the child has not, the guy is not back to completely fit to resume play football. It's not to deny the fact that appropriate surgery has been carried out and is still being carried out. Nobody is pretending that it is all over, but let no one deny that progress has been made. Because I was in this country where we were forced to postpone national elections because Boko Haram had taken over and installed foreign flag in about 18 local government areas in the Northeast. And I mentioned something that has happened here. So, through your television station, I have watched the number of people who have been convicted. The only worry I have, as far as those convictions are concerned, is that I don't know the power of the judges. Where the court pronounced, the law says, he shall be sentenced to death if guilty of terrorism, and the judge sentenced to 20 years. I'm unable to understand that. Different judges rewriting the law passed by a parliament. Because the business of the judge is to interpret. So those kind of cases, I'm sure the president must be also looking at those. That if you have killed so many people, and in the end you are apprehended, why should any judge grant you any clemency that is not a power in law to do? Only the president can exercise the power of clemency. So, but, however, the point needs to be made that but for serious intelligence gathering and a coherent coordination by the Office of the National Security Advisor, some of these achievements would have been made. The fact that people have renewed this attack this past 2-3 weeks, I just asked myself, are they coinciding? So it will appear, like I said somewhere else, that as we are approaching election, maybe there are some people like Turaki, is it Turaki or the fashioner chairman of PDP?
Tanimu Karibu Turaki.
Turaki, okay. Karibu Turaki, a former minister who said Trump should come and help him fix PDP. He's reporting PDP leaders to Donald Trump. So, if remarkably that desperate, it's not too much to expect that there might be some of these guys who are so frustrated and in the words of Amici, so hungry of power that they can't survive outside power. Apparently, after they have conquered all the other needs of life, they now just find that they don't have political power and they are hungry. And so, like every hungry guy, they will go to any length to take measures that may appear as we move closer to the election to reopen this kidnapping and targeting of schools, etc., etc. So that's very unfortunate. So you think that there is an artificiality to what is going on? For you to also know that the president is not sleeping on this. Besides holding meetings and so on, the president has directed the IG to appoint, to recruit additional 30,000. And I believe that will be the first phase, policemen, to expand the number of policemen that can be deployed to carry out pure police duties across the country. So that prayerfully the armed forces will not be found play the role of the police in different parts of the country. Number two, you've heard the Senate. Incidentally, that was my amendment to a motion arising from the kidnapping in Kebbi, when the Senate accepted the motion that to advise the president to start the process to get the armed forces to recruit additional 100,000 men. So all of that shows that everybody is concerned that we must begin to do something differently, including recognizing the fact that we have witnessed huge increase in our population growth relative to the size of the Nigerian armed forces. But there can be no overnight solution. What we can question, does this president care? Yes. Is he taking steps? Yes. Are people being apprehended? Yes. Are we beginning to see convictions? Yes. Has the problem completely disappeared? No. So sometimes the outcome you get may not be commensurate with the effort you are putting in. But always remember, this is not a problem that evolved during the tenure of APC or certainly during the tenure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that it was a campaign issue was as a result of the fact that the problem has been there. And it evolved during the People's Democratic Party's rulership with Atiku Abubakar as vice president and later Yar'Adua, later Jonathan. Ever before he moved to Buhari and now, unfortunately, Tinubu now had to inherit.
And it's been 10 years of the APC now.
But obviously, when you look at what is going on now, I think we are beginning to see the intervention of DSS in an unprecedented manner. Look at the guys who bombed people who bombed a church in the Southwest. They have been apprehended. So that culture of impunity is gone or is going.
Senator, I'd like to know.
Those are cases people thought are closed.
Yeah,
but we are beginning to see that the security people are working, they are getting appropriate intelligence, and they're able to apprehend people who are involved in this. All we can ask for together is that the judiciary should ensure that when it comes to cases like this, they should not treat them like other cases that they adjourn for 5 years, 6 years,
imagine you and your
without
colleagues,
getting conviction.
One will imagine that you and your colleagues in the National Assembly will rise, as you always say, when you move a motion of national importance, I mean, that you will urgently move to ensure that there are laws that are made and fast track to ensure that our nation is secure. Because we've been mouthing state policing, all of the measures retreat by the National Assembly lawmakers. I mean, isn't there anything that you and your colleagues can do as a representative of the people?
I'm surprised that even after you have so generously reported what is going on with regard to the constitutional amendment and all of the issues that various people are speaking against, including state police, you have to understand, Shehu, that we are in a democracy. It has its beauty, but it also has its challenges. One of the challenges is that it's not up to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for example, to say, I want state police today, and he will get it done. It's beyond his powers. It is beyond the power of the Senate to say, I want state police today. It is beyond the power of the House of Rep. It has to be a consensus done by 2/3 of the National Assembly, and it has to go to the 2/3 of the states of the Federation. But for me, this is not even my problem, right? Because there are many who think that state police is not necessarily automatic solution. Just the same way people say, look, I see people now calling on INEC whether they should take over the responsibilities of conducting local government election after seeing the way in which local government are conducted by states. So there are people who wonder whether having state police, you go to end up with some men well armed who may not be properly paid, and they may not only use the weapons for political reasons, they might also use them for other purposes.
Let me pause you for a moment.
There are no shortcut solutions. We have a complex issue that requires a holistic, clear thinking for us to have a national consensus.
We're due for another break. We'll be right back, everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's tell you the resolution of the governors of the Southwest after their meeting, which held in Ibadan, Oyo State. They've now resolved that state police is essential for national security. That's what the Southwest Governors Forum have agreed to at that meeting hosted by Governor Seyi Makinde. And they're saying that they're demanding for state police over security concern, push for regional integration, and to set up trust fund for tackling security challenges. They held that meeting at the executive chambers of the governor's office in Agodi, Ibadan, and had 5 governors of Oyo, Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Ekiti, with Osun represented by his deputy. The meeting brought together the governors to take stock of regional concerns and map out a coordinated response amid rising tension and insecurity within the Southwest. Let's conclude our conversation based on that resolution in Ibadan. I'm talking to a former governor. So when a region leader come together, such as the governors of the Southwest, and they say they're asking for state policing, and they're pushing that the state policing issue might be option, might be a way to tackle security concern. What do you think?
Fine. I mean, that's the beauty of democracy. And the point to what I told you earlier, that nobody has monopoly. Even though they have that consensus, but they cannot decree it overnight. What they are able to do at the moment is a moteku, which is, in my view, a reasonable step they've chosen to take. And so far, nobody has pointed to the disadvantage of the fact that the outfit force was created. If anything, they appear to have accomplished a couple of things. Those kind of regional cooperations also point to the fact that it is not one man, the president, that can fix. Everybody has a role to play, even at the local government level, even at local chief level. Everybody, if you don't have arms, you can provide intelligence that will enable those who have arms to bring their expertise to bear and get the job done. But what that means, for example, is that if that state police found favor at the National Assembly and it goes to the Southwest, you are sure that the houses of assembly, hopefully, in the Southwest, will endorse, because you will need to tell of the states. So it's a good progress. But it also shows that not even the governors are sleeping. They too are doing their part. They are not waiting for anybody to be abducted before they say, wait a minute, let's get talking. And not only that resolution, I'm sure they would have taken other steps too, with regards to how to ensure that the Southwest remains safe. That's the kind of cooperation what we'll expect, and that is commendable.
Senator Adams Oshomole, former national chairman of the APC, former governor of Edo State, and is representing these people in the National Assembly. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
I appreciate it. Time is so short.
Don't use that word short. Don't use the word short. It's politically incorrect.
Yes.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Shiwa Kimale. God bless Nigeria.